Fallout 4 is a wasteland filled with danger. Raiders, mutants, and synths are bad enough on their own, but what if every single one of them was legendary? Today, I'm putting my survival instincts to the test by cranking the difficulty to very hard and, with the help of mods, making sure that every enemy has that sexy star to their name. Today I wanted to ask the question, can you beat Fallout 4 if every enemy is legendary? For this run, I decided to play on the very hard difficulty because maybe I hate myself, and I also decided that besides the first deathclaw encounter, I will not be wearing any power armour, because in all honesty, I did not want to. It takes away from the challenge and it's too clunky. If you don't know what a legendary enemy is, basically every enemy will have extra health with the ability to die more than once. Legendary enemies will drop special loot with an enchantment attached to it. This can be as useless as a walking stick with a small chance to cripple an enemy, all the way to a pistol that shoots 2 bullets at once or every bullet turns into a mini explosion. I would like to introduce you to Lucky Liquor. Stats are all over the place, and going into this run I did not know what to expect, as I had my very hard cherry popped in this video. The start of the game goes as usual: total nuclear annihilation, become a rustler's burger, get defrosted, and take on my first legendary enemy, the infamous Radroach, which still goes down in one hit. You see, I, much like yourself probably, have the tendency to overthink things, especially when playing a game. But when every enemy is dropping a variant of the best, it's easy to get caught up in constantly upgrading your gear. So instead, I just kept equipping what was giving me the most damage protection. I grab my Pip-Boy and make my way to the surface. First things first, I make my way to Sanctuary and loot the houses of my former neighbours. I scrap up some wood so I can level up before I make my way to Concord, taking the first level in Idiot Savant. I had the foresight to realise that this was going to be difficult. So I craft up some water purifiers with my bare fucking hands somehow, so I can have some sort of way to heal even if I run out of stim packs. I ended up farming water and hotkeyed it to 1 so I can heal at an instant notice. I take the first rank in Medic and Black Widow, and I'm off to explore the big bad world. I recruit Red Rocket at Dogmeat and proceed to scrap almost everything I can in Red Rocket so I can fuel my material needs. I did bring Dogmeat along on this adventure for one main reason: as my backpack, as he was quite useless in 9 out of 10 combat scenarios, but I was going to need a lot of caps for this kind of run. I won't waste your time going over every single special perk that every enemy dropped with their gun or armour in this run, because Lord knows I wasted enough of my own time. In Concord, things go as usual, and I help Preston and the gang out of this fickle pickle situation they have gotten themselves in. So far, I haven't noticed too much of a difficulty increase, but that comes later. Now we just need to help out the cowboy and his gang by murdering the bandits. I am informed of a suit of armour that could be powered by a AA battery, which I happen to have. I hop in the armour and make myself known to all the raiders. Before the deathclaw can even show their face, I try to take out as many raiders as I can. The deathclaw, however, was a bitch. This monster ate my bullets like I eat cheese, with pride and strength. It got the best of me numerous times, but after about 10 minutes we say goodbye to our deathclaw friend and instruct the gang that it's safe to go outside now. I abandon my power armour and make my way to Trash Can Carla to sell out of my inventory and buy some ammo, and after taking care of Wolfgang and Simone, I do the exact same with Trudy. Dogmeat shows his usefulness as a meat shield with these ghouls, and I kill a raider mourning the loss of their wife or something. I don't know, I just arrive and pull the trigger. When I say I assist Paladin Dance, what I actually mean is I stand in the bush and wait for him to clear out most ghouls, only coming out with the last minute so I can look like the hero. I tell Dance to hire me for a job, then I run off into the night never to be seen again. I take the first rank in Rifleman and mark CIT on the map for later. Back at Sanctuary, I empty my inventory, improve some of my weapons, and fast travel back to CIT to mark some more locations on the map. I run into the Charles View Amphitheatre, and this is when it really sets into my mind that I was going to be fucked in this run. Death after death after death. It was infuriating. It made me feel the bad feelings like that one time I was in therapy and my therapist asked me about my experiences as a child, but like I did when I was a child, I blanked out, did what had to be done, and I just make it out with my life. I quickly run to discover Park Street Station so we can save Nick later, get mauled by a dog, then get lost in my way trying to discover the Old North Church. I run into some raiders after this who sit me the fuck right down, but after rediscovering God, I show them no good punks who's closer to the top of the food pyramid than them by only dying once more. This rabid Ragstad fucked me more than I cared to admit, and after admitting defeat I marked Bunker Hill on the map for some of my future trading needs. During this run I kept making returns to Sanctuary so I could sell what I could to Carla. improve my weapons, and getting more water. The reason I'm telling you this is because I likely won't include every trip I make to Sanctuary. I make my way over to Helgen for later, encountering nothing too challenging except for this one fucking bug, and then there was 2 of them. But just as it was in the beginning and it will be at the end, there was none. Down in Park Street Station now to rescue Nick, and this was a pain in the fucking ass. Enemies everywhere with 2 health bars, submachine guns, and funny looking hats. I was not ready for this, but past Dara is an idiot and didn't realise this. If it wasn't for VATS, I would have struggled a lot more during this part of the game. Everywhere I went, everything got looted. I needed the materials and dog meat needed a reason to live. The big station underground was an even fucking bigger pain in the ass. I have never in my life played this game as slowly as I did in this part. Imagine for just 1 second that you're actually good at something. Then someone realizes that you're actually shit because you're not playing on giga charred rock hard dick mode. This is what happened to me. Never have I felt so fucked by a game in my entire life, and I would know a thing or two about that. I grew up playing what real men play, Minecraft. I left this area twice to empty out my inventory because it just kept getting filled with shit that I wanted to sell and not throw out. Back in Sanctuary, I do what has to be done before making my way back to the subway station to rescue Nicholas. I get the sneak attack on Dinosaur and Nick and I escape only to run into this fat bastard, but because for some reason I had the foresight to put some points into charisma, I just talk my way out of the situation and Nick and I are free at last. Not free from the shackles of reality, but at least we're not in a fucking sewer vault anymore, so that's something I suppose. On my way to Raccoon City, I get lucky and find a dead Diamond City guard, and if you don't know, well, their armour is very good, especially for early on in the game, so I grab that, pickpocket the mayor for Cheerios key and talk to the talking robot where we investigate the cereal man's house and use dog meat to track him halfway across the fucking map with a ciggy. Because I marked Fort Helgen 2.0 on the map earlier on, I just fast travel there, take out the turrets, some nearby mutants of the super variety, and wait for dog meat to finally catch up to me. For the mutants, the only way I was actually able to take them out was with the power of drugs and shotgun shells. In Fort Hagen, I used Jet to my advantage and just fucking rushed for the elevator to take me down to the lower floor because I was not taking on all them synths. I wasn't too stressed about fighting Kellogg Crisp, mainly because I know the game was about to give me a fat man, and if I use more than 3 of my 7 brain cells, I might be able to actually use it to my advantage. I'm sure if you can use your eyes, you can tell I am using a scoped rifle, and if you don't know why, then I would go to a doctor. It creates distance between me and the enemies. Distance is good when you're always like 4 hits away from turning into roadkill to be served in a crusty burger. After blowing myself up more than once with the fat man, I decided to single out the synths so we can 1v1 on Rust with interventions only, but instead I noob tube and get the last lav when I show Kellogg what a shotgun smells like up close. Outside now, after looting the robot's body, I'm greeted by the flying Led Zeppelin racists and go back to Sanctuary to empty out the Tory. Back in the Green Apple, I stock up on more ammo and get chatting to iRobot. He sends me the good neighbour in the bad part of town to have Kellogg's brain implant scanned for viruses, and you know how this goes. After Fallout 4 being out for 10 years, if this is the first ever video you're watching on the topic, then you don't know what's going to happen, but rest assured, it's nothing. It's a cutscene you cannot skip, but you can walk through. It's Bethesda's answer to a mini-game on a loading screen. We find out about Virgil and teleportation, and now we have our plan of action. Not many exciting things happen on the way to Virgil. I get my revenge on the Ragdow Stow, whatever it's called, take advantage of the world's geometry to cheese a bear, pull off a sick quickscope, witness a mutant kamikaze into my dog, then the rest is just a full-on sprint ignoring anything and everything to meet up with Virgin in the cave, where he sends me to take down a courser so I can slash TP into the Institute. At Green Tech, I had to slowly go through the building, basically taking out every enemy, and after getting myself stuck in a death loop at the very start of the building, I just had a great feeling about how this was going to go. Let's just say I had the guts of a lot of bullets and many water, but by the time I got to the courser, I had little bullet and very thirsty. This courser fight was again, as you can imagine, a fucking nightmare. I didn't know if it was to do with substances that were taken either before, during or after this fight, but for the life of me it was a constant back and forth of getting fucked and getting fucked again. At times I was doing more damage to me than the courser was, and what usually a quick trip in VATS has turned into a 5-minute slug, but I finally take him down, make my escape where I return to Doc Ock and she sends me to the Toaster Sympathizers. Genuinely, I was going to be civil with them. I did not want to start a fight I very clearly could not finish. Before I could even get down to them, this one ghoul got too close for comfort and I'm welcomed into the gang by Desdemona, so I can have my SSD scanned for my long lost half a Bitcoin I bought in 2009. It was all going so well. You would even say it could have went off without a hitch. I got the chip decoded, I had the data, but no, I had to get greedy. I had to steal, and at this stage I already had what I needed. I could have just left, but no. You know what I did. I used my explosives, my drugs, my precious ammo, and some of my sanity, but after getting glory fucked by the Terminator more than a few times, I had managed to actually kill them all off in a record-breaking 10 whole minutes, including Pamalama Ding Dong, who didn't fight back for some reason. Back to Virgil now, and here is where I made a decision. Who to side with? Well, in all honesty, I decided to go with the Minutemen because I was not taking out a fucking super mutant behemoth for the Brotherhood of Holding Hands. Or maybe that's what I want you to think. At Bunker Hill, I finally meet up with Cricket and sell off almost everything so I can grab Spray and Pray, because fighting that courser taught me one thing, and it's to throw fucking everything you can at enemies, even if it's cheesy, because fuck them. I test out my new shiny boots, and interesting to learn that this is how math works. I never knew. I talked to Preston, and in the background of all this commotion, I've been planting food and defense at the sanctuary. Preston has sent me to 10 Points Bluff. You see, I had a plan up my sleeve. Imagine for once in your life that you were watching a YouTube video that just gets straight to the point. My plan was to kill the people at the bluff so I didn't have to bother with settlement quests, because yet again, I have fooled you. Today we are siding with the Institute. I don't think I've ever fully sided with them till the end, so this was actually really interesting for me. Skip ahead and I get teleported into the Institute, where I meet Father, my son, and take sides with the Institute. I go around introducing myself to the team, and Father sends me out to collect a rogue synth who's cosplaying as an IRL person. On the way to capture the synth, I run into 2 albino reindeer, and is this rare? I have no clue if this is rare, but I killed them both and took their loot for all intended purposes, which will be used to cash in on my next run to the shop. I'd gone the wrong fucking way, and a Mirelurk queen came out of the water, so I said fuck the rads, and I fucking swam over to Britain, or whatever it's called, and performed my class act maneuver of diving under the water and going to the main part of the ship. And let me just show you how this went. Yeah, not good. But after 13 and a quarter minutes, I go into the captain's cabin, pick up the shotgun I'll gladly use for the rest of the run, and make my way to the highest castle in the tallest mountain, talk down to Synth, and don't almost die to his friends. Synth 1 brought Synth 2 home, and I returned to Father for a clap on the back or something. He invites me to live with him after this suicide mission, and then he sends me on another super secret top mission. He's shit talking the Railroad, who he clearly knows about and doesn't somehow know I've killed them off already. At the Battle of Bunker Hill now, and the only faction actually mad at me was the Railroad, but they are train enthusiasts. So what are they going to do to me that I haven't already done to myself at some stage? This one bitch ruins my fucking day, but besides her, I use my shotgun to farm zombies, and I reset all the synths. I meet Dad on top of CIT ruins, where he basically says this place is a fucking shithole and I should have never left my lab. But before he uses his commands, he invites me to a meeting with the people I met earlier. Father is afraid of the Brotherhood, wants to activate a nuclear reactor, and he is dying. But who is going to take over the Institute? Well, me of course, who else? However, I kill myself and have to do it all over fucking again, so that was just splendid. Mohammed and I have to go to Mass Fusion to get the battery for our toy reactor, and this was just as fun as you don't think it was or is. We became permanent enemies of the bros. This part was as fun as when you were a child and you were shopping with your parents and they had to go off and get something they forgot, and the cashier starts scanning their items and you are 7 years old. You don't know what to do. The cashier is just as awkward. They joke you have to pay for this and you start to cry. That's almost comparable to the situation I find myself in. On the way down to the basement, I pop a stealth boy so I can go unseen for a minute while I take my Prozacs and we crash land at the bottom, where I rush through the area, only dying a grand total one time I think, and sinking all the ammo into these bullies. I get to the basement, use my hacking skills to get into this terminal, steal a hazmat suit, and steal the beryllium agitator? Now, here is where I was scared. The fucking sentry bot and 2 assaultrons were not going to be easy. I had 2 fat men rounds. They were useless. I died countless of times and the Fat Man critical hit an Assaultron straight up in the head. Did fucking nothing. But after I screamed into my pillow, we got out. I caused some mischief and I returned back to Dad for my clops and cheers. I am sent on to collect Father's girlfriend, but she goes to a different school, so you wouldn't know her. We convinced him to come over and I announced to the Commonwealth that I am Daddy now and we're using nukes. I boost the radio signal in Diamond City so my speech can be hearded from all over the common land folk. Jonathan activates the generator. I hold my first meeting twice by accident and when we decide to take down the Brotherhood of Steel. Twice. It was simple really. They were going to use me as bait. They were going to sit on the back of a pig, glue a carrot to a stick. I am the pig in this story and I will blindly follow the carrot until I'm either turned into sausages or pork chops, and quite honestly I don't know which one is worse. We are now in the final stretch of this run. There is less than 20 minutes of footage left. You have already watched this video for long enough. If I was you, I probably would have stopped watching when I said Fallout 4 is a wasteland filled. My ability to strafe and shoot explosive bullets aids me in this part. I use the drugs I've been stocking up on to get close to the generators so I can shoot them out. Our overall goal here is to get rid of their EMP shield thing, let our synths in, upload a virus to Mother Mary, and trick her into bombing the blimp. It sounds easy on paper, but so does selling drugs. I take joy in being able to assassinate their cripple for extra serotonin points, and at one stage I even managed to kill Dance, who, fun fact, has a synth component in him when you kill him. We upload the virus to Captain Democracy, stand back, blow up the blimp, watch the pretty sunset, watch my father die, and I answer the question, yes, you can beat Fallout 4 if every enemy is legendary. If you have any challenge run ideas you want to see, please leave them in the comments, and with that, I've been Dara, and have a good day.